All right, this is the last big hill to climb when it comes to the resume. After this, it should be smooth sailing. So let's get into how we generate bullet points. Bullet points, again, are different from skills. They're basically the meat of the resume, and it's how you convey your value based off of the projects that you've worked on. So, a lot to cover here. Let's get into it. So, bullet points by job, we need to create a version of this template for ourselves. So, I'm going to copy. I want to put it inside of my resume folder. In a perfect world, I would throw it into the subfolder of bullet points just so it's separated out. And I'm going to call this Tailor. Boy, I can't type today. Tailor Ryan, bullet points by job. Make a copy. Great. So just a little explanation. We're going to use a prompt to fill in everything, and we're going to do it job by job. So let's get into it. It's a thing. So now that we've made our copy and we have the different tabs separated out, we want to rename the tabs based off of the jobs and the job title. So this is a finished version, and you can see that each tab has the company and then the job title. And I've numbered them in order to make it easier to see the sequential order because sometimes it's easy to get mixed up. Now, if you've had a crazy amount of jobs like I have, this is going to be a little bit more substantial in terms of work, but let's just methodically work through it consistently the same way so that we arrive at the right destination. So I'm going to jump back over to the brief and find out what to do next. So first I'm going to copy the prompt, copy the generate bullet points prompt. Now I'm pasting the prompt inside of ChatGPT or DeepSeek, whatever you choose. And the raw data that we want to put in is going to be from our resume that has all of those projects underneath it. So I have my resume drafts and versions here, and you should be making copies so that you're consistently able to iterate off of this. I have all of my projects added into this, and that's this one. So I am going to take this first employer and copy all of the projects and then the subtasks. And I'm going to throw that in right underneath of the prompt inside of the raw data. So we got everything in here. If you read the prompt, I've actually tried to create more of a gamified element like an RPG role playing game. And so it's got a lot of interesting angles in it. You decide what you want to keep. Great. So in this particular prompt, I have asked to be asked questions so that it can get more accurate. That is totally up to you as to whether or not you want to include that section. So that's this, ask me 3 questions to get more accurate info. You can answer the questions or decide to move on and copy and paste the bullet points. I answered the questions here. Now it's going to generate bullet points based off of the feedback that I've given. Honestly, questions and answers is a really cool way of tailoring prompts a lot more specifically. Great. So it's adjusted some of the given bullet points. So I'm going to take the ones that have been updated. I don't need to take the headings because those are already in my table. I will copy, paste, and now I have some bullet points at which I can play with. I can definitely ask for more bullet points so that I continue to get more and more accuracy out of this. Give me 10 more. Nice. So I have additional bullet points that I can continue to add into my bullet point list. The goal is to eventually have enough so that we feel confident in what we're building. It's so much easier to do this when we already have projects in our list, but you can see it's coming together, and this is what it's supposed to look like. So following along on the prompt, I have copied and pasted a bunch of the projects, put them into DeepSeek or ChatGPT, whatever you're choosing to use. I've added the prompt, and I now have something in the way of a table that I can build from. I've pasted that table into my version, my copy, and it's continuing to grow. I like to have 15 to 20 in here, so I'm kind of around that sweet spot. If you're missing stuff that doesn't seem like it's really getting at the core of what you've done, then of course you can get more specific on the project level and say, I want more bullet points that are related to this, this, and this. And it will give you a ton more bullet points. Now that you have a large enough list of bullet points and you've done this for each job within your CV, We need to standardize a review process so that you can select your top bullet points and get rid of the ones that don't make sense to have in your resume or in any of the trading data. So I use the stoplight technique. It's green, yellow, and red, the same way that the stoplight looks. I think everybody's familiar with those. Green means keep this bullet point, it's perfect. Yellow means it needs some tweaking, so you can go back in and adjust slightly. And red often means no, bad, throw it out. In this particular instance, I don't think it makes sense to highlight anything in red. I would just outright delete it so that you're getting rid of the extra stuff that is only going to fool the AI LLM from building more accurate stuff in the future. So I would delete everything in red just so you have an understanding of what this looks like. Every job is going to look like this. Now, again, I went well above the 15 to 20 mark for a lot of these jobs. So it's not something that you absolutely have to do, but I wanted to kind of over deliver on this and have something that then I could shrink down in reasonable size. You can always adjust the yellow bullet points to be green bullet points, meaning you can make a not so great bullet point into an amazing one. Ultimately, we want to be able to rank our top 5 bullet points so that we have more of a standard resume that we can always go back to. So you can see on this version, I have ranked my top 5. And, again, like it's a personal preference as to how many bullet points you want per role, but this really does help in terms of having way too many options and narrowing it quite dramatically. So again, this is the before, this is the after, and now you need to make sure that you've gotten everything in there that you want to, so feel free to expand on specific projects that you want to make sure are in your resume. If you've already gone through and ranked everything, then let's move the top 3 to 5 bullet points over to a new CV template that is basically a fresh version that you're making a copy of the original. So I'll show you what that looks like. This is my Google Sheet that contains CV drafts and versions. Hopefully you have something relatively similar in terms of the iterations of your CV. Now, I'm going to show you where we came from, which is this one. This is my version of the resume that had crazy amounts of projects for every single role. It's 26 pages. Again, this was to train the model so that it is giving us super accurate bullet points. But now we have the bullet points that we've actually gone through, and we want to complete a nicer, more scaled down version of our CV. Okay, so I am going to start to adjust this massive 26-page resume and put in the bullet points that we have already constructed using a LLM paired with a really nice prompt. So first things first, I'm going to take my top bullet points, control, great, and I'm going to this document. First, I got to get rid of the projects. It's going to bother the hell out of me. Done. And I am going to do Control Shift V. Great. Now, I can decide later if I'd like to wordsmith them. I probably will. I am going to strip out a few of the additional elements that, again, we used to train the model so that the bullet points were more accurate. This job is finished, and I'm going to work my way through all of the following jobs. You can do this too. There's a reason that we created all these bullet points. I have given some insight into how you go about adjusting this CV. So we're getting a heck of a lot closer to what a final looking version of a resume will be. We have a few more adjustments to go, and hopefully we're getting to a point where we have something that is a baseline resume that we can start tailoring for different jobs so we can actually start applying and getting real opportunities in front of us.